College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Panicked. There was great communication. Riley kept everybody under control, and we knew we were in range where Mitch could make that field goal. And he is a confident guy.
That's where we're getting our confidence from. You know, in games like this, we have to be able to run the ball.
And the team that plays the best and executes the best is going to win the game. There's a lot of opinions out there, I'm sure, of, what everyone's going to expect, but ultimately it's going to come down to the players on the field and how.
The first key, if you're trying to slow him down on schedule, is obviously taking away, the primary read. The challenge is his size and strength.
I think execution on offense is key. Just making sure that we're running the offense and making sure that all 5 guys that are out there are kind of working together. I think another factor is just kind of not worrying about who's scoring as long as they have a great bit on their chest.
I want to see them get a lot of deflections, get a lot of layups. That's one thing we haven't really done much this year, is a lot of pick sixes is what I call them. We've got steals, we've got deflections, we just need to turn them into points.
We all know it's hard to find certified staff. That's someone that has a license to actually teach in the state of Kansas, let alone someone that coaches, let alone someone that coaches football, and let alone that they're a good coach at it. Obviously, if that would have been the case, that's what I tried to do when I first came, and just kept knocking on doors that weren't getting answered.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome to the Friday Sports Day program. Steve Webster, Mike Corson, and our executive producer, Landon Winkler. On the show today, we'll talk Barton basketball. Head coach Jeremy Combs getting set to test how good I-70 is as they'll travel to Colby tomorrow to take on the Trojans. Sunflower Sports Solutions, Connor Nickel will be with us. We're going to break down what goes in to the Kansas Basketball Coaches Association basketball rankings. You ever wondered? You stick around.
Coaches' opinions.
And the voice of the Indians, and 7 or 8 other things. He's not a voice of, that he does. Our own Swiss Army knife, Gary Wagner, will talk some Larned High School basketball here on the show. Friday sports headlines. Let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours or so. 2 calls for you last night on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, and 2 plays that help determine at least one team who will play for the national championship. The first, Penn State's Drew Aller throwing an interception that set up play 2, a Mitch Jeter 41-yard field goal that gave Notre Dame a 27-24 win over the Nittany Lions and a spot in the national championship game. You also heard from Marcus Freeman, the uber-talented young coach of Notre Dame, talking about that final drive where they get the field goal, and we're talking about stepping up in big moments. You always think, okay, I want to play on the big stage. Well, if you're like Mitch Jeter and he drains a 41-yard field goal to win it, you like playing on the big stage. On the other hand, if you're Penn State's Drew Allers, who throws that interception, an ill-advised pass, the old ABC sports show, the agony of defeat. Tough night, but a heck of a football game.
Looked like early on maybe Penn State was going to be able to physically dominate them. That defense hadn't been tested in a while. They kind of went down, smacked them in the mouth. Like, all right, finally they're playing somebody. This is what's going to happen. Stepped out for a little bit, come back in, tied game. 3 interceptions in the last, 6 minutes? So you think, Penn State's going to give the ball back with a little bit of time. Nope, interception. They stop Notre Dame, and then here we're going to go. We're going to get a game-winning drive, and he throws it across the field without looking.
No. 14-1 Notre Dame. First 12-team in the first 12-team college playoff will have a chance to bring its first title since 1988.
Isn't it weird, too, that if you saw Penn State's tight end got clobbered once, goes into the tent, when he hit the ground, I thought, man, he might have been out. Notre Dame's quarterback took a tough hit, went into the tent. They both ended up back out on the field. So what's the priority here?
That was last night. Tonight it is the Cotton Bowl game, Texas against Ohio State. According to Longhorn quarterback Quinn Ewers, key to winning is run the damn ball. Got to run the football tonight against Ohio State, whose coach Ryan Day says, we break everything down, but it comes down to determines, the players on the field. So there you go. That's our other game tonight, semifinals. We'll have it for you starting at 6 here on KVGB. Ohio State, by the way, only team to appear in 4 of the last 6 CFPs, but its last national title 10 years ago. That was the first season of the 4-team college football playoff. Buckeyes winning the title at AT&T Stadium. That's where they'll play the Longhorns tonight. Texas, last national title 19 years ago.
And if we all stick to the simple rule, we can all get through tonight. We can go watch the Panthers play. Shh. We all want to get home and watch the game. So just if nobody says any scores, we'll all be good. We can watch both. And I just laid it out there that somebody will undoubtedly yell that out.
I'm gonna look to see where you're at tonight. Just to run it. Hey, Mikey! You hear about the football game? No, I would never do that. I would never do that. What do you think about the 12-team format? Don't you think we're going to 16? I mean, a first-round bye.
I think they'll get rid of the automatic first-round bye that went automatically to conference championships. The goal there was to make these early season games mean something, but you saw what happened, especially I don't think there's a seed left over 5.
Well, you got to have 16. I mean, you put it in there, you get rid of the buys, and still make sure that you get the conference championships and champions in there. And maybe if they're, it's another game. It's inventory, Mike.
That is money.
Inventory. It's commercials that are available to run.
The first round bye has worked in every other sport. You see it in Major League Baseball. Obviously, the Chiefs have had it several years. It's a big thing to push for during the regular season. So the problem here is it's subjective. NFL
I
is
just don't want to see
records.
7 SEC teams. I don't want to see 7 Big Ten teams. I do want to see. And if teams get run in the first round on a home site, that's fine. At least you excite 16 different fan bases, hopefully in 16 different parts of the country.
Yeah, that was a misnomer. These teams don't belong here because of the scores. The other thought on that would be, no, they absolutely belong there. They did what they were supposed to, and they kept interest because most of America doesn't want to see 2 conferences.
I agree. Okay, Sean Payton talking about trying to slow down Josh Allen. Won't be an easy thing to do when the Broncos play the Bills noon Sunday on CBS. Love this matchup. All of a sudden, I've got orange and blue in my veins. I think Denver's, maybe it's because of fear factor. Everybody says, well, you don't want to play Cincinnati. No, I don't want to play Denver. I don't want to play Denver. They're the up-and-comers right now.
I saw where the Cincinnati fans put out a petition to get their team reinstated into the playoffs because the Chiefs blew the game on purpose. Sound like 23,000 times.
Don't start the season so bad. Then you get into a situation. Wah. They have to rely on other teams to get in.
And that happens every year, so I don't know why Cincinnati's special this year. Just because Joe Burrow, I guess.
The wild card round of the playoffs get underway tomorrow, and it will feature the Chargers at Houston at 3:30. I like the Chargers in that game. And then the second game, people will call it an upset, but Pittsburgh's going to go to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson will will lose vision again and throw the ball to the other team, and Pittsburgh will they still got that Russell Wilson factor, don't we? Well, I don't know about that. Can Russell Wilson upset the apple cart and at least let Lamar Jackson get a playoff win?
No, I think I said yesterday it's too early for Lamar to blow it. They usually get through at least one round.
Sunday, the Packers and Eagles in Philly, Washington and Tampa Bay in the Sunday night game, and then Monday it will be the Rams and Vikings in Arizona. Have you watched that? That's incredible. The devastation. I go to these places all the time. It's cool because you see, I've been there. I've seen that. The Roman College. We went to California last year. Went to Los Angeles. My daughter drove us all around because she was a traveling nurse there. Drove down, and she showed us where she lived down there. And, well, it's gone. It's incredible. I just can't, so there's wildfires out there. There's, boy.
And the weird thing, too, like, tornado, you kind of see everything gets blown around, but it doesn't disintegrate, it doesn't disappear. Fire, it vanishes things.
Yeah, in Maui, it was just, I cannot believe that. This thing.
And then usually, 3 days in, you usually get some containment. You keep seeing on the news, 2 of the biggest fires still 0%. And then obviously, with that wind and those conditions, it could, how do you stop it?
Well, you can't stop it if you don't have water. But at least those minnows are okay.
They're smelt.
At least the minnows are okay. Okay, high school basketball tonight. Kyle Cree and the Great Bend Panthers taking on Garden City tonight. Garden City will come. This will be their second game against a school from the state of Kansas. It's their 8th game of the year. Their only game was against Scott City, who they lost to on a last-second shot. And the Panthers hanging their hat on their field goal percentage. They're 51% on the season from the field. They hit 58% against Pratt the final game before the break, 65% at Liberal last Friday. Their 2-point shooting percentage is right at 60%. So Kyle Creed talking about why the percentage is so high. Well, if you're dunking the ball and if you're getting offensive rebounds and putting them back, and you've got Ian Premer inside, that's a pretty good combination. The Lady Panthers, head coach Jade Winter talking about what she wants to see from her team tonight. They've been able to force turnovers, but she wants to pick 6. That means forcing a turnover and getting the basketball and going down and just making a layup or not committing a turnover right back.
I think they're pick 2s. I know what she did there.
I can see that, a pick 2 and 1. You'd have that in there, right?
And 1, yeah, pick and 1.
Okay, so that will be tonight, 5:45 on B1043, The Point. Other games tonight, Hoyston heads to Beloit. You can hear that one on 100.7 Eagle Country. If you see just an old grumpy face headed up K14 to Beloit tonight, it's Hesh on his way there.
Does he have a car that can get him up the hills? If there isn't any slick on him?
Oh, I know. Well, at least there's big shoulders, right, between I-70 and Beloit.
I don't think so.
No, there's not. Other Central Prairie League games, Chase at Ellenwood, Maxville at Central Plains, Otis Bison at Victoria, Nest City at St. John, Kinsley at Cunningham, and Stafford is at home tonight. They host Argonia. You can see the schedules up at greatbendpost.com. Barton, we'll talk to Jeremy Combs coming up. They play at Colby tomorrow. Women play first at 2, 1:45 for Cole on B1043 The Point. Big 12 tomorrow. KU plays at Cincinnati, 12:30 for the coverage on Hits 106.9. Kansas State at home tomorrow. They will take on Houston. And that final cup, I wonder who that is. We're talking about an NFL coach, the way it sounds. Brian Luters, you found this yesterday, and because you have that news nose of curiosity, well, that is Coach Luters talking about the reason he left Liberal High School, trying to make it work with a new pay structure. He needs licensed teachers, and it's not going to happen. You talked to him today. Oh, you didn't?
No.
Was that even Luters?
that was Luters. No, their newspaper he's talked to their newspaper out there for 50 minutes about this, why he left, the situation that changed and popped up in his few years there. So in a nutshell, if you're not a licensed teacher, they're going to make all these changes. You're basically going to lose $9,000 to $21,000, or that was the difference between them and licensed staff. Well, most of his coaches weren't certified teachers. So he's sticking up for his coaches, and then he knows that to keep doing what he's doing, then he's going to have those certified teachers. Well, if you look at most staffs around the state, how many of your football staffs are certified teachers, licensed teachers?
There's a lot of Rule 10s out there.
Especially on the assistant side. So he's seeing the writing on the wall and sticking up for his guys and says.
So what's the mood in Liberal then?
I went to look at the post because on the original post when they announced his resignation, a lot of people were upset. They like him. The kids seemed to like him. He had had success. And then they're angry at the situation. But yet, didn't seem like a whole lot of people watched the 50-minute interview. Because I really respect the guy for being articulate and coming out and talking for 50 minutes about, I mean, I would think my obligation here is done. No, he sits down for 50 minutes and explains what the deal is.
Had great success at Meade. Liberal was much better than I expected them to be this year. Do you think he's going to have trouble finding a job?
I do not.
Okay.
And he's been a Western Kansas guy, so I don't know if he'll point his eyes east at all because I don't know where the opportunity's out there. But
Was Hill gone from Garden City now, too? I don't know. Well, there you go. Sounds the past 24 hours or so. Just so we can get Landon involved in the show today, there will be no On the Prowl with Mike Corson. That's going to be On the Prowl with Gary Wagner. Jeremy Combs coming up next here on the Friday Sports Day show here on KVGB. That's brought to you by Equity Bank, adding value for their customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. Freedom Claims Management, innovative health care plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish. Continued support. They have you covered. And one more, Mike Corson.
The Barton Cougar Booster Club continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country.
You become a broadcaster, my friend.
He can read today.
Yes, indeed.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
C&E Doors, this is Cindy.
Me, Ma! I passed my math test!
Great job, Hadley. I knew counting all those parts in our huge inventory would help out.
Don't forget about the springs.
That's right. We have the most in-stock springs of anyone in Western Kansas.
Well, I don't know if our inventory is making me smarter or just giving me a headache.
Garage doors, service, and repairs at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Jumpstart your education with Barton Online. You can pick up a class or earn an associate degree for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling. Start when it works for you. Choose from 5 sessions throughout the semester, including 16, 8, and 4-week options. Save big on the way toward your career or tackle your gen eds with our low-cost pathway. Visit online.bartonccc.edu and enroll today.
It's time to talk Barton Cougar basketball with the head coach, Jeremy Combs, on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on a Friday. It's all brought to you by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Also, Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Jeremy Combs join us. Happy New Year, Coach.
Happy New Year to you.
I had to ask because my daughter had the same experience. She lives in the suburbs of Albert. And she, I just can't believe it. Went out there and I was getting and our driveway was completely, they came in with a tractor and emptied it out. Small town living right there, Coach.
Yeah, you gotta love it. They there was bobcats out there. There was tractors with shovels on the front, and driveways were cleared, and it was beautiful.
They would have done that. You only got 1 or 2 tractors over there at your place. People wanted to help out, but you won a national championship, so they had everything over there.
You know, I think it's something about this town too. You know, and I'm sure in other towns as well. But you know, we had the hailstorm and all this. You know, and then you start to see people in the community helping each other, and you know, it's just a great community. You know, and it's one of the reasons my wife and I love being here.
Yeah, it's. And you got that house before they got it, so congratulations. Okay, Mike Marzoff and we were coming back from Liberal last Friday night. We were having a good conversation going down the road. And I tried to think, because I have not seen as many high school games over the years as Mike has when he was covering for the Hayes Daily News and all this. So we're going to see Matt Campbell tonight at the football game. Michigan was at Great Bend High School this week. And, of course, they're looking at a guy named Ian Premer, right?
Yep.
Well, those are football coaches. Yeah. We were trying to think, okay, basketball. If Ian just came out and said, no, I don't want to play football when I get into college, where would Ian be on, you know, as a basketball-only recruit? I'm just curious. I
think he'll be on a high level. You know, my guess is that he probably, because he's a Kansas kid, he'd probably end up at K-State or end up at KU. You know, and I know both schools. I don't know if he's officially gotten an offer from KU, but I've heard it's coming. You know, but he's a kid that can play pretty much anywhere. I mean, he's a stud. You know, and he can play football, he can play basketball, he can do what he wants.
We talk about the football skills. Of course, we know, hey, 6'6", he runs like a deer and things like that. What does he bring to the basketball court that makes him stand out? IQ is one of them.
Well,
I mean, it's off the charts.
Obviously, he's a really smart kid and knows how to play the game, but you know, works hard, shoots it really well. You know, just has a nose for the ball. You know, it seems like every time that ball hits the rim, and if it's coming off, he's going to go get it. You know, so you know, he doesn't ever back away from any challenge. That's the other side of him. I love that side of him. You know, I wondered if when he went and played on the big stage at AAU tournaments and things like that, I wondered, you know, how will that pan out? You know, playing against kids from New York or wherever it may be. And he never backed down. Just kept going and going, and had a great summer. And I mean, he can do what he wants. If he wants to play basketball, he can play basketball. If he wants to play football, he'll do that.
How would you compare him to the skills that a young man down the road south had in high school, Dean Wade?
I mean, it's pretty similar. You know, I mean, honestly, you know, and I think Dean actually, really developed more and more, especially with his outside game and things like that through the years, and obviously in the weight room. But Ian's, you know, the same thing. I can see him being a kid that, you know, I'm sure he lifts quite a bit, but if he really gets after it in the weight room, I mean, I'm sure that's what the football coaches are saying. They're saying, hey, we're going to put, you know, a bunch of weight on this kid, a bunch of muscle, and he's the type of kid that can carry it, you know. So he doesn't. Guys like Ian don't come around very often.
No, they don't. They don't need to go in the backyard and get one off a tree or anything like that. Yeah. And you've been around in your career, different times, different places, prima donnas.
Yeah.
I mean, he handles all this. You wouldn't even think that he's.
Yeah, it really is neat watching him go through it. And, you know, I've said a couple things to him about, you know, enjoying the process, because, you know, this doesn't happen every day. And you know, he's just so level-headed with it all. And, you know, you talk about a kid that could, you know, his head could blow up and not be able to fit through the door, and his doesn't. You know, he's just very humble about everything. And, you know, it's just fun watching him. You know, it's been fun watching him since he was a freshman all the way through, and really cool.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, Jeremy Combs with us right now. You never know. They change their mind. I mean, have you offered yet?
Well, that's what I told him at our last basketball game. He came down. I said, hey, I want to see a post where Barton offers you. I said, I know we don't have enough money for you, but
there's that side of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, your team's come back, got a couple wins coming out of the break, and, you know, you come back and you have all the practice, you run, you want to get them in shape and everything. You come out, and Mineral Area's in town. Of course, the conditions, you know, not a lot of folks there. And immediately come out and you're down 14-3. Nice planning, Coach, but but you were able to. Mineral Area's a pretty good team.
They are a really good team, and so that was a really good win for us, and that's why we scheduled that game, nowadays it's about these quality wins, and we needed that game, and thank goodness we played it, because I think if it would have got postponed, I don't know if we would have been able to make it up, So it's really helped us, as far as strength of schedule. But no, we came out, the rust was still on, and we were trying to shake it off. I think the first 10 minutes we had 2 points, and it's just crazy, because in practice we were scoring the heck out of the basketball and still guarding very well and doing the things that you get in those games, and it's just totally different. Somebody else, how they're guarding you, just different things like that. And so we finally kind of turned it around and got things going and got the lead back.
We talked about this, I think, before we went on our Christmas break and everything, how your benches started to develop. You got some pop off the bench in that game against Mineral Area.
We did, and we talk about, you can have bad days. You're going to have bad days, and you want to limit those bad days and have more good days than you do bad. And Dre and Brent didn't play their best game, but luckily we had some guys that came off the bench and helped us out, and those guys are very capable of doing those things, and that's that makes us pretty excited about next year, as far as 'cause some of those guys were freshmen. But it was great that they stepped up and had the opportunity, and they were ready to go. And again, we told Brent and Dre that, hey, nights like this happen. That's why you have good teammates, and they pick you up and help you get a win. And then they came out the next game. And
I was going to say they bounced back nice, didn't they? Dre, 19 points, 8 assists, 5 steals in the win over Fort Hays Tech Northwest. Okay, still rolling that off. Moss, 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists, 3 steals. That's pretty good numbers.
Yeah, they were leading us in scoring. They led us in rebounding. They led us in assists. So, again, sometimes I don't think it was a wake-up call. I just think they just didn't play very well, and then they stepped up the next game and led us to a win. So.
Head to Colby tomorrow. Always a tricky game when you go out there. So, what about this team you'll face tomorrow?
Yeah, they're really good. They're actually, they've been in a ton of games. They've won a bunch. I think they've won 10 games. But they've got some guys back from last year that were freshmen, and so they're talented, and they're sophomores. And then they brought in a couple of transfers, and then brought in a big kid, and they're a good team, and we're gonna have to play our best if we want to get a win out there.
Okay, then you're back home against Independence. Seems like they're much improved this year.
They are. They've got a couple of guys that are really scoring the basketball. They play a lot of zone. But they're leading the conference in scoring, and so that if you're doing that, you're usually going to be in ball games. So that'll be a tough one as well. So we'll hopefully we can use our home court advantage to help us out a little bit.
Appreciate you coming in. Don't give up on Ian, man. I mean Mason's down there listening right now. I'm sure you can find a blue Corvette for him, right?
Yeah.
Put that in there.
It might take a little bit more than that.
Okay, well, we've got some other people out there. We'll just wait and see. Jeremy, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jeremy Combs joining us here on Sports Day. Coming up, we'll talk high school sports with Connor Nickel. That's next.
From the Mail Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster Premium Diesel Fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no-obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
And I'll do this, and we'll get started.
What's going on in high school sports? Well, let's ask him. Sports Day is proud to welcome in Sunflower Sports Solutions' Connor Nickel.
Indeed, Connor Nickel back with us here in 2025 on Sports Day. Our show brought to you by Great Bend Rec Commission, dedicated to improving our community and the lives of its individuals, and the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend. Large or small, they take care of them all. Happy New Year, Connor Nickel. Here we go into January, February, and basketball, wrestling, everything going on right now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about everything. It feels like it's been a long time since we have played. We got some junior high games in last night, picked up some wins. But, yeah, it's just, you get this 3-week break now. A number of teams were snowed out of Tuesday, including us. And so everyone's excited for the first time in 3 weeks to get back and playing.
All right, Connor Nickel also, Sunflower Sports Solutions, girls basketball coach. Victoria does it all here on the show. I want to talk about some matchups today, but we're going to begin today kind of talk about rankings. I don't get too fired up about the high school rankings. I'm just glad they're available. Now for basketball, we look at Kansas Basketball Coaches Association. John Betts with Kansas Pregame provides some of those where they accumulate them from other rankings from across the state. Of course, K-Preps. I don't get too excited about them normally, but there are some interesting things with the new rankings that were released on Tuesday. Talk about some of those things that you saw.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of, and I don't know if, a lot of people I don't know actually know this, how the basketball rankings are done, because they are done much differently than the football rankings. So in the fall, the K-Preps rankings are generally considered to be the statewide rankings. There are some other rankings published out there, but K-Preps is a group of people that is generally, it's myself, Matt Gilmore, Brent Maycock. I know Cole Rife has been a part of it at times, Sean Boston. There's been some other, I guess, well-known, long-time media members that have been a part of it who do the K-Preps rankings. John Betts does kind of his own rankings too, and then the Coaches Association, for 11-man only, does their rankings as well. But I know most people use some version and or of John Betts and the K-Preps rankings. And there's been years where Betts has been a part of the K-Preps committee as well. That committee has, people that have covered high school ball for quite some time. The basketball rankings are actually done completely differently. These are all from the coaches. I am a ranking member for 1A Division II, which is obviously Victoria's classes, and that is all I rank. I do not rank any other class. And there's a variety of coaches that are on that committee. It can range anywhere from 6 to 17 a class. It kind of ebbs and flows. I believe we have 11 in 1A D2 girls, and then we submit it. And so, I think one thing that's kind of caught a lot of people's eye is actually the game in Victoria tonight. Otis Bison boys are ranked number 9 in 1A Division II. Victoria boys are 3-3. They're also 1A Division II team. They've had 3 very competitive losses against 3 honestly pretty good teams, Hoxie chief among those. And then they've beaten Osborne and Chase, who have been struggling teams this year. I know Coach Ryan's getting some players back, and he's really excited about that. Obviously, Coach Ryan's brother in Central Plains obviously has a ranked team too. And some of those, especially pre-Christmas, are based not only on wins and losses, but sometimes who you have played as well too, which can factor in. You know, you can kind of look at it and see who teams have played. You can also look at it. You know, Max Preps does have the strength of schedule formula that they use as well too. And give a shout out. As I said, CPL girls side this year I think is really strong. Coach Maxwell's crew is 6-0. So credit to him and the start they have had so far.
Okay, so do you like the way that I don't know, I don't like the K-Preps. I mean, it's got people across the state that cover it kind of on a full-time basis. How much time do the coaches put into it?
Yeah, I try to do about an hour-ish on Sundays because I try to go through and I like to see, okay, maybe who are we played, like coming up, how have they done, anything that's popping out stat-wise, some things like a team, for example, is like Buckland. You know, we don't play Buckland, but a lot of teams who we play Buckland. I think Buckland is a really nice team name in 1A2. So, you know, there's just a lot of things that can go in the pot. I also think that like Sharon Springs, the Sharon Springs coach, and I conversed even this week. I think Sharon Springs has got a really nice 1A Division II team. They're like number 2 behind Hanover right now. They face a lot of teams that we can face at some point during the year. So I would say, 40 to 45 minutes. I will be honest, I would probably look more at strength of schedule than maybe some others do. I know there's some Southeast Kansas teams that are really highly ranked that I don't know how great they are at the state level. But Cheyenne, obviously way out west, has got Taylor McCarty. Obviously Hanover girls are a really, really impressive team. So it's certainly fun to talk about. But I wanted to kind of take a few minutes today and just kind of talk about how these rankings actually happen, because I don't know if many people actually truly know that.
Yeah, okay, so 5A has their own coaches on boys and girls side that are just dedicated to doing that class then.
Correct. Yes. So like Coach Melvin for 5A girls, I believe he is a voting member. But yeah, he just votes on the 5A girls. There is a 5A rep for us. It's Parker Christensen for 1A Division II girls. He's been at Golden Plains for 30 years. Generally, your rep is someone who has been in the business for quite some time, and they also kind of organize the all-state ballot at the end of the year. We submit kind of a top players type of list each week of 1 or 2 players that kind of stand out. And I also submit too if we've seen somebody who has been really, really stand out, such as Bryn Gillespie from Quinter. I say, this girl is very deserving of an all-state recognition.
Okay, so I guess the thing is, my thing is it's a nice reference point. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not something to, and I appreciate the people that take the time to do it, and if they volunteer to take the time to do it, put a little bit of time in it. I mean, I've ranked teams before in NCAA Division II. You don't see those teams, but you got to dig into it a little bit. So with the polls, I guess they are what they are, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, just they are what they are. At L1 girls are ranked. And historically, I've done some historical. I mean, generally speaking, there is 1 or 2 teams every class, every year, who make the state tournament who have never been ranked. I think of Russell a number of years ago when they were in the Final Four. Last year there was a couple of teams who were not ranked who make it to state. And Northern Valley Girls, a great example of this. They finished 4th in 1A2. They're not ever ranked. but their best player was out for the first half of the year. And then, with basketball, with the weather and sickness and injuries and all that, that can really play a major role too.
Okay, so Coach Melvin's voting on the 5A, and his team dropped from 5 to 7 and they didn't play a game. So he's not voting enough. That was one of the interesting things I saw in the poll this week anyway. Okay, some of the matchups in our area tonight, certainly one of the top ones in Claflin, on the boys' side especially, you have number 7 ranked Maxville against number 5 ranked Central Plains on the boys' side. What do you see in that matchup tonight?
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. And then, I think you can say, I think most people would say Central Plains is the top team in the CPL. Maxville's ability to put up points is really impressive. I mean the pace at which Maxville plays is just really high. I've got CP as a slight favorite here. I just think defensively, they're probably a little better, but, Diego Esperanza putting up 30, 31 points a game. Adams is having a really nice year too. But again, it kind of gives me pause that, Maxville's allowing a lot of points. And yes, some of that is pace. But, they're just not as strong defensively as some other of Coach Kuckelman's great teams. But yeah, I think that the winner of this game tonight has the major inside track for a CPL championship.
Okay, Central Kansas League for girls basketball has been strong over the years. That looks like it's the case this year, man. They've got the top 3 teams in Class 3A. Hillsboro's number 10 in there. So one of the top leagues in the state again for girls basketball looks like for the CKL.
Oh yeah, I mean what the CKL does, I think so well is you've got teams that and I have thought this for a long time, and I've watched Hillsboro play, I've watched Haven play, is you have very solid teams 1 through 7. Dwight Roper has always told me at Upton Haven, he goes, we are as good as our 5th and 6th players, and by and large, Haven's always had very, very good 5th and 6th players. You see a lot of teams that will play a half-court style, play very, very strong in defense. The CKL and the MCL, I think there's a lot of similar things. I'll be honest, we've been pressed more this year, and we've only played 6 games than TMP did all of last year, and TMP was a 500 team. The MCL, you just don't see presses very much. The CKL, I mean, you're just, half-court defense, fundamentals, good players. Because if you press in those leagues, you've got a fourth and 5th player who can certainly score. I felt like Haven was going to have a really, really good team. I felt like Hillsboro was going to be really, really strong. I think Hoisington is another nice solid team too. And with the new playoff structure, and again going back to what Coach Roper said, who is the 3A rep, who is very, very vocal about postseason changes, we may see a league school or Cheney 3 or 4 times a year. And how fair is it when we're facing Cheney for the 3rd time in the sub-state championship game? If we could change the postseason structure some, specifically in 3A, that's really help things out. So I'm really curious because the CKL has kind of had to swallow each other up in some sub-states. But this year, I really wonder if you're going to see 2 or 3 CKL teams make it.
Okay, I want to get to the WAC on the boys' side because I think it's pretty clear it's going to be Hayes and Great Bend are the 2 teams. Dodge City's, coming on. They got a win over undefeated Woodward and Garden City, and of course, Liberal's really struggling right now. Hone in on Hayes. Tell me about the Hayes team that Great Bend's going to be competing against.
Yeah, so Sean Dreiling is a great coach, and Sean Dreiling played for Mark Johnson and Fort Hayes. 4 days annually, a top 5 defensive team in Division II. I talked to Sean Dowling about this. I said, what did you really learn from Mark Johnson? He said, half court defense. And I like Hayes' group. I did feel like it was going to take until Christmas for Hayes to really coalesce after that deep run. They've got a senior class of really high character kids, many of them who contributed quite a bit in the fall. Johnny Kano, Cooper Lindenmeyer, obviously Dawson Reuter, the post in the middle is just, 6'5", 260. I mean, he is a great player. I think he is second best player in the WAC behind Creamer. So again, you've got a lot of really quality players across the board, and a lot of really high character kids. There's a Fox brother in there too. Dowling has built a really good program. I think they kind of knew the Manhattan game was going to be close. I think they also kind of expected to win it. It did not go that way. But I really thought, what's Hayes High going to be after Christmas when they have some more practices instead of playing 6 games in 2.5 weeks after only one week of practice?
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about them. And great talking to you again, Connor. Hang on here. I've got a question for you off the air, so just hang with me here just a second. Connor Nickel here with us on Sports Day. Our show brought to you in part by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, and the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, featuring number 2 clear diesel, bulk fuel, E10 fuel delivery, and all your lubricants and fuel supplies. More Sports Day coming up.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
This man can teach, coach, broadcast, and even auction off your estate. Sports Day presents one half of the Larned Dynamic Duo broadcast team. The voice of the Indians, Gary Wagner.
Wags joins us on the show today. Did you go over and do Buddy's driveway? Make sure that he was okay?
He actually has a bigger tractor than I do, so I kind of thought maybe he would come and do mine, but I've just been four-wheeling through it the whole time because he never showed.
Yeah, I figures, and I figured that was a dumb question. Because I would say if anyone would have a fancy snowblower, it'd be Bud Tabler.
Well, you would think that, but the man is cheap. He's also a little set in his ways. He still has a landline that rings twice a month.
That's okay though, because when he forgets he won't have to look for his cell phone when he needs to call 911. I'm telling you, I need to get mine back for sure. Gary Wagner here. No basketball game for you again tonight after Tuesday's game with Ellsworth snowed out. So I guess next up will be a scheduled game with Nickerson next Tuesday. Is that right?
I believe that's right. Yeah, okay. We're off tonight. There wasn't one scheduled for tonight, and I guess we were kind of hoping maybe we'd be able to make up that Tuesday game, but Ellsworth probably has a game tonight already scheduled. So I think that one's been moved to the 13th of February is what I've been told. So that would be a Thursday. So put that on Becca's schedule.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can't remember where my phone is. I would send an email, but I'll try to pass that along, okay?
Okay.
All right, Wags, let's talk about the Larned High School girls. We had Jared Smith on in the first semester, and he's got a team full of young hotshots. That's going to be a fun team to watch develop over the years. They closed the break, getting a 54-42 win over Kingman. There was that loss to St. John in there, but what has impressed you most about this Larned girls team so far?
You know, they've just been pretty resilient. You know, they won their first two, or actually won their first three, and then lost two in a row, lost in the championship game of the Katy tournament to Holcomb, which was a really good team. You know, that was a case of just getting beat by a better team. St. John was the next game that they played, lost to St. John by 5. I know St. John's a good team, but I think Larned, talent-wise, is probably as good or maybe better, but in typical St. John and Danny Smith coached team fashion, we just kind of got outplayed a little bit. And but they came back and beat Kingman by a dozen that last game before the break, and just been kind of I mean, I don't think anybody expected these girls to go undefeated, but to be able to kind of bounce back after a 2-game losing streak and get that fourth win before the break, I think that was big. And like I said, just kind of a resilient bunch. These are girls who really don't like to lose, and they're not used to losing, and so you know, that's a lot of that just is all about attitude.
And you know, they're going to get Nickerson next Tuesday, and then you have Halstead, and then TMP, and then you're going to get Hillsboro, Heston, Pratt again, or I don't know if you get Pratt again. Anyway, Hillsboro has, and the CKL is not a good place for young basketball teams a lot of times, so we're going to find out a lot about this young group that Larned has.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know how tough the CKL is. You know, night in, night out, you're going to be in a dogfight no matter where you are. There are some good teams in the CKL. There are some elite teams in the CKL, and you know, some really good players on all those teams. So, yeah, once we're past the non-conference and you get into this league play, you're right. It's going to tell us really what these girls are made of.
Yeah, well, you saw that Pratt team just take part Great Bend before the end of the first semester, and Larned beat them by 22 in the season opener. So, do you play Pratt again before the year's over?
Yeah, yep. Play them again later. I think somewhere the 23rd or something like that. That's actually going to be a throwback game where we're going to play those varsity games in the old Frog Dome.
They're doing a game at the Frog Dome?
Yeah, you believe that?
Oh, man. Can I do the game that night?
Come on.
Wow, what a cool idea that is. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'd like to see Larned do that sometime, go over to the old high school gym, and bad thing about that is all the seats in the upper deck have been removed over the years, and so there's not near enough seating over there anymore.
You just want to broadcast from that little booth over there on the side, you know?
You know, I can remember the late sitting in there with the late Markley Harold Zwink, and listening to him do some games. It was the old black actual telephone that you could lock the hook so you could hang the phone up, but it wouldn't press the hook down, so you'd stay connected. I don't know how his equipment was attached to that thing, but you talk about primitive.
I don't think I went back that. They just didn't have good equipment. I don't think I ever had to do that. But anyway, I know what he's talking about. For the Larned boys, your thoughts on this team? I mean, it seems like, you know, they've been competitive in some games this year. What's the upside for this Larned boys basketball team?
Yeah, I think we probably played the best game that we've played in at least the last 2 years. The last game going into break against Kingman, beat them 52-37, I think was the final in that one. Larned's now 3-3. Kind of felt like maybe we were finding a stride a little bit, which, you know, of course that happens right before you end up with basically 3 weeks off between games, you know. Carter Crosby's averaging double figures. Tristan Regan probably had his best game against Kingman. Had 10 points in that game. He's not so much a scoring threat as he is. He's just active. He's a pretty good defender, really athletic. Larned's biggest deal is they just don't score a lot of points. You know, they've They scored 31 against Plainville. They scored 41 in a win over Kinsley. Scored 36 in the loss to St. John. Scored 52 winning over Kingman. So, you know, I think if you're Luke Steinlage, you know, a head coach, you're probably telling your guys that, you know, we need to try to score. We got to score between 45 and 55 points to really have a chance to win. I think Larned is pretty good defensively, and the games they've won, they're just really good at muddying the waters, you know, for what the other team wants to do. They're just they just don't let the other teams really get into good rhythms, and you know, whether that's by design or whether it's just kind of the way this team plays. Most teams that play against them, I don't think ever really get comfortable.
Yeah. Well, it's fun because, I mean, I know Luke's had to go through some rebuilding times right now, and right now he's got his team at 3-3. Can they keep it around that 500 mark, do you think, or is it going to be tough?
Well, it's going to be tough, just like we talked about the girls. Do you know any good CKL teams that are pretty good on the boys' side?
Well, let's see.
There's a few.
Well, yeah. One of them starts with an H. Let's see. Heston's not bad. Yeah, let's see. Yeah,
Heston's not too bad.
Yeah.
Haven, you know, they're not bad.
They're not any good at all, Wags. What are you talking about? They're not any good at all. They're overrated for 7-0. Yeah, okay. All right.
But it's the same story. You know, you've come out, you know, at 500 going into the break, but it's really time to maybe step up. You got to win. You got to win some of those games that maybe you're not supposed to now.
Okay, Gary Wagner with us, voice of the Larned High School Indians right now. Is what's the makeup on as far as the roster makeup on the boys' side? You know, we know how young the girls are, but what's the roster makeup for the boys right now?
Well, you got seniors. Carter Crosby's a senior. Shaver's a senior. Carson, and so there's Deacon Martin. He's a starter. He's a senior. You got a lot of seniors that contribute a lot. Jimmy Gardner, who just came to Larned this year, was pretty key on the football team. There's a lot of seniors, but there's some pretty athletic guys. Back behind, I mentioned Tristan Regan. He's a 6'3" junior, really athletic. There's a couple of good sophomores. Anthony Gonzalez is 5'11", really athletic. Andres Martinez is 5'9", sophomore, really good ball handler, good shooter. So there are some younger guys that have played quite a few minutes, and I think are going to be counted on as we go along.
Well, thanks for carving out a few minutes for us today, Wags, and we'll talk you down the road here a little bit. Once you do start playing, you may not have time to do that at all. Look out for the out-of-town budget for eating here at Eagle Media, but we don't mind spending money on you guys. So
yeah, I don't like to eat cheap.
Well, Buddy does. I mean, he's cheap. You said that on the air earlier. So
well, yeah, he is, unless he's spending your money.
Yeah, well, I got that up. All right, Wags, thanks have a great weekend.
You bet.
Okay, Gary Wagner, voice of the Larned Indians, with us here on Sports Day. Back to wrap the show up here on a Friday right after this.
Senior Doors, this is Hadley.
Hadley, what are we going to do today?
You have to work at Senior Doors. What if there's another power outage?
You're right, Hadley. People rely on us to be able to get into their houses and businesses. That is why we sell electric operators with battery backups and have been serving the community longer than anyone.
Does that mean you're getting old, Papa?
Not old, experienced.
Garage door service and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
It's going to wrap up the show today and our first week back from holiday break. Yeah, we'll be right back at it Monday. Panthers at home tonight at the Fieldhouse. Garden City in town will have all the action starting at 5:45 with the pregame show. I'll be there along with color analyst Mike Marzoff. Have a great weekend, everyone. Agriculture Today coming up next.